Greetings, Lucky Legends. My name is Lucky. This is Lucky Lad TV. I'm your host for this video, and it is time for day 4 of the hashtag Road to DDoS. And today I'm going to be talking about school. Most people don't like school. I'm very split. I'm very split on school. Because here's the thing. School is incredibly important. It's your primary social outlet first and foremost. It's where you learn how to be a human being overall, and it's where you learn all of your general skills as an individual. It's where you learn how to count. It's where you learn how to read and write. It's where you learn biology, sex ed usually. So school is very important. It's very important that everybody go through all of high school. I really think that's important. I know people are going to say, oh, well, look at this person. He's a high school dropout and blah, 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 blah. I don't think you understand just how rare of an exception that is. Because for every one person that didn't graduate high school and is a millionaire or a billionaire, there's hundreds, probably thousands, maybe even millions of people who didn't graduate high school and work a shitty minimum wage job 80 hours a week and still barely make ends meet each year. So it's important that you graduate high school. If you want to make more money, go to college, because if you have a college degree, you make more money than if you don't. That's an average statistic. It's not a person-to-person statistic. I'm in college. I have my AA, which means I essentially have finished half of my degree, but I did all of the necessary courses that I have the skills in that specific field. My AA is in journalism and English. I'm a writer. I like writing. And to get your BA, or it could also, which is Bachelor's of Arts, you can also get Bachelor's of Science and a bunch of other stuff. That's typically 4 years. And then there's stuff like Master's, PhD, MD, all the other doctorates that you can get, like if you want to be a vet, if you want to be a dentist, if you want to be... It's not a doctorate. Well, it could be a doctorate, a juror's doctorate if you want to be a lawyer. There's all sorts of stuff. People could be in school until they're like 30, easily, depending on how far you want to go. And I want to tell you guys like the gist of how my experience with school went, because I moved around a lot when I was younger, so my experience is kind of different than most people. A lot of people go to elementary school, middle school, high school, and they're with not necessarily the same, but probably a few of the same people throughout the whole time. Like if you look at Nips and Shady, for example, they met in 5th grade, which is, here in America, that's the end of elementary school, and they went to middle school and high school together. And that's usually, you know, standard. I always went to private schools growing up. They were very small schools, so I knew everybody's name. But so elementary school I did in not Rhode Island. I did in New Orleans. Back when I lived in New Orleans, I went to elementary school there. Kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. 2 weeks into 4th grade is when Hurricane Katrina hit, and my family and I evacuated. We went to Houston, and I did 4th grade in Houston. Then was 5th grade, and I did 5th, and we moved to Florida, and I did 5th grade in Florida, and I've been here since. And I was never really a big fan of school. I never really enjoyed it that much. I was never really given an option as to where I would go to school, because the way that my dad's job worked is that he always had... There was always one school that he was very connected with, so we wouldn't have to pay normal private school fees. So it's like we can get the better education for not too much money, so we would always go to those specific schools, and they were always very, very small, because they were very small private Jewish schools. And I'm personally not religious, but, you know, if you're getting... Overall, private school is a better education than public school, generally speaking. That's not an across-the-board fact. That's a, you know, most of the time. So I went through middle school and high school. It was the same school, technically. They have elementary, middle, and high. They go K through 12. And I spent all of middle school there, and I spent most of high school there. The last 2 years of high school, and this is why I'm 19 and I've only done 1 year of college. I've done 2 semesters at university. The reason I have my AA is because the last 2 years of high school I did dual enrollment, which basically means you negotiate with... Seriously, it's a negotiation. Because you want things, they want things, you don't want certain things, they don't want certain things. Eventually you come to an agreement. But I had to negotiate with my high school because I wanted to do more than what the school offered, because there was a lot of useless stuff that they were teaching in the high school. Like, they had mandatory second language classes, but the mandatory second language was Hebrew, the language of the Jewish people, which it does not... I don't need to learn that. I live in South Florida. If anything, we should be learning Spanish. If you live down here, or if you live in Texas... Well, southern Texas, really. California, Arizona, New Mexico, places like that, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And the other thing, I had 8 classes per day. I had 2 electives. I had 2, and then I had the 2 Judaic, or Jewish Studies courses, and then I had the 4 core subjects, math, English, science, social studies. That's the last one. But we spent a lot of time, in my opinion, doing things that weren't applicable to me. Because here's the thing about the Jewish Studies courses is that Hebrew, right from the get-go, I'm like, nah, not my thing. As for, like, learning about the Torah, which is the Jewish Bible, and all that sort of stuff, it gets very repetitive. Like, it's... You already know. I knew it in 5th grade. You don't have to teach it to me over and over and over again. But they do. So the last 2 years of high school, I went to my parents and I said, look, I want to get out of this high school because the kids here there were like 30 kids in my grade, my whole grade. It was super duper tiny. I'm like, I need to meet more people. I need to meet more people who are also, you know, looking to expand a little bit more. I'm looking over the reason I'm looking over there is because I was like remembering talking to them, and they were on my left. I don't know why I remember that, but they were like, "That's fine by us." The only reason they were fine with it is because I had my car. If I didn't have a car, they'd be like, nah, you gotta suck it up and stay there until your brother leaves. And so we basically negotiated it, and during my junior year of high school, I took 5 college courses. And you're probably thinking, how did you take 5 college courses and it lasted 9 months? Well, the way that dual enrollment worked where I did it is that it was all dual enrollment kids. So basically you would go there for like 4 or 5 hours a day, as opposed to like the 8 hours at a normal school. Yeah, it was like 4 hours. It wasn't 5. It was 5 with travel, because it wasn't that close to me. But you would go there for like 4 hours, do the 5 courses, and then you would go home. So it gave me a lot of extra time to do a lot of other things. I had a job. I was working as an SAT prep tutor and an office assistant, primarily a tutor. And you know, it made it so that it was a lot easier for me to do things. So basically, I did 5 classes, which is 15 credits. It's 5 classes, 15 credits, because it's 3 credits per class. And I did that my junior year, and I did the same thing my senior year. So basically, when I came out of high school, I had essentially 1 year of college credits. And then when I did these last 2 semesters at an actual university, I got 30 more credits, took 10 more classes, and got my AA. I don't have like an actual diploma, but I have all the credits for it, because I looked it up because I wanted to make sure. So I technically have it. I have all the prerequisites. I can apply for it, and I know I meet the requirements, and then they would give it to me. I don't know if I'm going to be going back to university in the fall. It's really a toss-up, because on one hand, I really should go back and keep getting the credits and whatnot, so that I can eventually get my 4-year degree. However, to the same extent, I definitely went off to college too soon. Like, I moved out of my parents' house, and the reason it was too soon is because I never really had any conflict in my life in general, because when you're in a school as small as I always was, everybody knows everybody, so you have to get along with everyone. Because if you don't, then you risk literally the rest of the entire school ganging up on you and not liking you. So basically, you just have to get along with everybody. If you don't like somebody, you pretend that you do. So I never really had to deal with conflict, and when I went off to university for the first semester, and I finished the first semester, and I'm like, I need to learn how to deal with people before I move out. And that's essentially what I did the last semester. I lived at home and went to university, and that worked a lot better because I had that safety net of my parents. Next semester, if I would not be living with my parents. I would be doing this and going to university, and I may still have my job. It depends on where I go, when I go. Right now, I'm very comfortable with aside from the fact that I live with my parents, which I do not like, everything else I'm very comfortable with. I work 5 or 6 days a week. It depends on the scheduling. Between that and putting out 14 videos per week, and also getting my entertainment out of YouTube by watching it myself, I don't have that much free time anymore, which is good. I don't like having free time, because when you have free time, you usually spend it on something that you don't need to. For me, when I have free time, I usually spend money. And that's not very good, because I don't really make enough money to be doing that. Like, if I was making the same amount per month off of my YouTube channel as I do from my regular job, it wouldn't be an issue, because I would basically be making twice as much as I get from my job. Unless I make, significant money off of my channel, it's never going to be my primary source of income. It's always going to be secondary. It's going to supplement the money that I make at a job. I truly believe this is the greatest job in the world, but for every person with over 100,000 subscribers that does this as their job, there's 100,000 people who would love to be doing this as their job, but don't have the subscribers to do it. They don't get the views to do it. They don't have the partnerships, the connections, the sponsorships, all that sort of stuff. And I would be fine being in that boat. I would prefer to be, in that 100K club, consistently growing, where this could be my job. That would be really nice, but school is also very important, because I can't guarantee that my channel will grow to the point where it's my job. However, I can guarantee that I can get a well-paying job with a 4-year college degree. And meaning a job that will make enough that I can live off of it, with this being my hobby. So I guess because at the end of these videos, meaning the Road to DDoS videos, I always like to leave you guys with kind of like a thinking topic, or like a discussion topic. Because most of the other times it was about how what your taste in music was, what your taste in video games was, what you watch on television, stuff like that. But these last 3 days they're more about like outlooks on life. They're not about interests as much, because you can go to school for just about anything. There's probably a school somewhere that you can go for YouTube video production, or like online video production. Like, I'm sure there's a place that gets that specific. I haven't found it, but I don't know. I'm virtually certain it exists. So the discussion topic that I have for you guys for this video is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or when you're an adult? Because people that watch YouTube, there's a colossal age range. There are children that watch because they want to see Pokemon. There are adults who watch because their children are watching. There are other adults who watch because, like me, they still enjoy this. So there are so many different groups of people that watch YouTubers. And I'm curious, like, what do you want to be? Because most people in the world aren't doing what they want to do. They're doing what they like to do it, but like, if you ask a kid what they want to be when they grow up, you're gonna hear like, oh, I want to be a superhero. But if you ask a teenager, what do you want to be? You're gonna get a lot of things, and then they don't end up doing it because they can't afford the education. They can't. They lose the drive. They lose the interest. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. But that's what I'm curious is, what would you guys like to be right now? And that the discussion for you guys is, what would you like to be, and what do you see yourself being? And I want you to be as realistic as possible, because it's also going to take some serious self-introspection to say, I know I want to be this, but will I really be able to go through with it? Because the thing about me, about 6 years ago, I was a volunteer at a veterinary clinic, and I wanted to be a vet so bad. Like, I envisioned myself as a vet, and I'm like, I just can't do it, because there's parts of that job that I would not be able to do. And I think you all know exactly what I'm referring to. I'm not going to spell it out for you, but in a job like that, or being a doctor, or being a lawyer even, there's parts of that job that you never want to have to do, that you know for a fact you will have to do. And I couldn't get over that, so I started, exploring other stuff. But yeah, that's my question for you. And you really got to be honest with yourself. You can lie to me, I'll never know, but at least be honest with yourself. So with that, I'm going to get about. Best luck out there. I will see you all soon. Goodbye.